If it's about board games, it's on the table. Get ready to join Doug and Michael for Board Game Radio.
Welcome to Board Game Radio. I'm your host, Doug Kotecki, along with my co-host, the second best doctor in board gaming, Dr. Michael McCabe. How's
Thanks,
it going,
Doug.
Michael?
Good. I think with our new format, I prefer the other host or another host, but I'll still allow co-host. I like that.
Another host. So what's new? It's great to be back, huh?
Man, it's awesome to be back. I'm excited to do the show, continue the show. We've got so many ideas. I feel like the number of segments that we're ready to just launch, weekly podcast returns.
Yes, and so it's exciting. So I have dressed up for the occasion, Michael. This is
that's why. Okay.
Yeah, this is the start of Board Game Radio, and I wanted to kind of have some pizzazz behind it.
Well,
we got
I could have put my suit on too, and then people wouldn't have thought that you were trying out for a sequel to Reservoir Dogs or coming directly from a wedding or a funeral. But
maybe it could be.
All
Well,
are
it's the funeral.
appropriate.
I guess it's the funeral of Game Schooler podcast.
Easy.
May
You're
she
going to get
rest-
some people upset with us, man.
May she rest in peace. It was a wonderful journey, but it is great to be back. And speaking of backs, I wanted to talk about our sponsor this week, which is Back Calyx.
No
they're
way.
sponsoring
They've
us.
returned for a second season?
They have come back,
Really?
yes. And if you're not familiar, Back Calyx is a first-of-its-kind 4x4 cube-based storage unit that's designed to go on your back. So a lot of conventions recently have started banning rolling carts and strollers, things like that would allow you to kind of stock up while you're at a convention and buy games. This way, this is on your back. So it's not going to count as a cart. It's not going to count as a stroller. And you can fit 80 ticket to ride sized boxes in this shelf on your back. It's got ergonomic straps, so it's not going to weigh you down. Your shoulders and arms may feel tingly, maybe a little numb, but your back is going to be fine. Your lower back, no problems. And this is just going to help feed that fiscal irresponsibility that shows up in the hobby when you're debating, should I get that deluxe Kickstarter? Well, I can. I'm here. Yes, you can with the Back Calyx. So it's pretty exciting. Check that out. The other thing that works out well with is if you've got a game night. I'm going over to Michael's house. I don't know which game to bring. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I can just bring my entire collection.
You can bring Foundations of Rome and Foundations of Metropolis.
Yes. You could bring 16 copies of Foundations of Rome if you wanted to.
No, you couldn't. You could not fit that on your back or in your car.
In a Back Calyx, you can. That's what's so amazing about this product. Yeah, so...
Can I jump in here real quick before you give the tagline? The other thing, we have been in talks with the design team about a fanny pack accessory that is exclusive to Board Game Radio listeners so that you could fit all of your all-play components after you've opened them into the fanny pack. So you can't get them back in the box? Don't worry. We have a fanny pack that will help you get those components home before you get them into your Ziploc baggies that then sit on top of the box.
Yeah, I am really looking forward to that. I can't wait to hear more about it. Just want to remind everybody that Back Calyx may not be suitable for all body types, and turning sharply may result in personal injury or death. So be aware of that. And if you do stop in an aisle...
Personal injury up to death. That's the fine print we're supposed to read. Sorry, Doug.
Yes,
Back to you.
And just beware that if you do stop and loiter in the aisle at a convention, people may think that you're a booth. So just be aware of that there could be some confusion there. So keep it moving while you're wearing the Back Calyx. So thank you for sponsoring the podcast as we move forward and Board Game Radio. We've got a great show this week, Michael. We're going to be talking about our new show. We're going to be talking about what's on our mind. We're going to be playing a new game called Operation Name That Game. And we've got a list of our top 10 games from 2025. So should we get into it?
We shall.
Let's roll.
New games, big updates, tabletop headlines you might have missed. Welcome to This Week in Gaming.
All right. This week in gaming, normally we will be talking about the latest headlines, things that you may have missed. But in this segment, this version of it, we're going to be talking about what has been happening over the last 2 months since you've last heard from us, and the end of the Game Schooler podcast and the emergence of the board game radio, which is where we are now. So, Michael, do you want to give us some thought process behind that, or how we arrived to this journey?
Well, journey is the key word. We're still on it. We're still creating a weekly podcast together. The big piece, though, is the Game Schooler podcast as a project came to an end. And anytime a project comes to an end, that can bring a whole series of feelings for people that have been following that project, helping to create that project from the beginning. We initially started out the Game Schooler podcast to evangelize, hey, board games belong in classrooms. Board games teach skills. Board games are awesome. And all those things are true. But after 5 years of reviewing games, it gets to a point where we're at a crossroads. Are we going to continue being marketers for publishing companies with the core audience being teachers, librarians, and homeschoolers? Or are we going to branch out? Because it's one thing to have the Game Schooler podcast and be 50 episodes in, 100 episodes in. Once you start to cross those milestones, we started to cross those milestones of 150, 200. It was, what's really happening here? Do people need more games? And so that 5-year journey has concluded. And I think we love, what we love and want to continue going forward is the community that's been built. The folks over on our Discord are incredibly kind, welcoming, engaging, helpful. We want to see that continue and grow. We still want to be a place for new and experienced gamers. I think that's, kind of a high-level overview of where we were and kind of our hope for the future. I'll turn it back to you, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, the big component of this whole journey is the idea of we got burnt out with reviewing games and having to have that dictate what our game nights consisted of, and sometimes maybe playing games that we weren't super excited about, and then you would never hear about them because we didn't have a format that allowed for us to share those experiences. And ultimately, it comes back to the word fun. Michael and I want to have fun. We want to have a show that allows us to be creative, to have new segments on a regular basis, to try new stuff, to not be bogged down or tied to the idea of we have to get this review out before everybody else. There are a lot of great review channels out there. And so our idea with this is to come hang out with us for about an hour every week. We're going to talk about games. We're going to play games about games. We're going to do all the things that you kind of know about us that we've done in the past, but in a more free, open, fun environment. And so we're kind of this idea of a variety show where we're going to have some reoccurring segments, but there's going to be a lot of segments and things that we're trying that are changing all of the time. And since we made this change, the difference in what we've played at game nights and that pressure of, oh, we got to get this in because whatever the excuse may be, has totally changed, certainly for me, since we've done that, of being more willing to pull things off of the shelf that we had played in the past or that I played a long time ago that I wanted to play. It was still in my collection. So the ability to play new and old and have fun around the hobby without necessarily keeping up with every new game that comes out and the hotness and things like that. So we're still going to talk about what's going on in the hobby. We're still going to talk about just basic questions that are roaming through our heads. And the goal is to have fun. So hopefully this is a fun experience for you as the listener, and can feel like you're at the table with us, which has kind of been our goal from the beginning as well, is to just hang out with us and chat games.
Yeah, and we really want to avoid the churn, and it's somewhat and what I mean by that is keeping up with the games that are on and trending in the hotness on Board Game Geek. We as people who play board games and who love board games want to try to avoid that. And if that's your thing, that's awesome. I'm on Board Game Geek every day. I see what's going on over there. I'm sure you'll hear about it on our show, but there are other shows that cater to the hotness in a way that is untenable for two people that are doing this as a hobby that costs us money, doesn't make us money. And so if that's where we're starting from, we need to have fun with it. The other thing that I just want to say, kind of react to, I have three other things. I'll try to be quick with it here. One is that game schooling was incredible for me as a dad and as an educator. My 10-year-old did 4K pre-kindergarten the year before you go to kindergarten in the United States during the pandemic while I worked from home, and board games helped to teach skills. And that I just want to kind of put that out there of the starting place was we had three young school age kids, each of us in two different households, and we were seeing what could be. And I'm grateful for that. And I want to, I'll continue to wear our game school stuff. If there is ever a game school or convention, I'm going to be right there. I'm continuing. Games and learning for me go way back, way, almost 20 years back. So games and learning is something that you'll still hear from me. There may be segments once in a while. That's not going anywhere.
Well, and let me interject there too.
Yeah.
All of those resources that are on the Discord and the website are still there and available. So if you're looking for 200 plus games that are great family games recommendations in that world, those still live in gameschooler.com as well.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Great work on that, Doug. The other thing to just react to, and I've talked about this from time to time because I was completely shocked when it happened. There are, not to react to, but to share with our audience, I should say, and Doug can react to it, but there are a couple of publishing companies that I absolutely love and am a fanboy of. Thunderworks Games, Keith Matejka. I love the games that Thunderworks makes, and I really do, and I back them, and they come into my house. Chip Theory Games. Yep, same with what I just said to Thunderworks. Another, okay, I'll add in one before I get to the big one. Capstone. I've been a Capstone Plus member. I should see if I still am. You get 20% off for $20, that whole thing. Same with Stonemaier Champion. I am a Stonemaier Champion. Well, I got a survey about 6 months ago for being a Stonemaier Champion, and it said, what type of board gamer are you? And there's this whole checklist, and one of them was board game reviewer. And when I checked it, I cringed a little bit, like, oh yeah, I'm a board game reviewer. But then I thought about it more, like if that is its own category within the hobby, maybe Doug and I are not providing the value, and we should just leave that to the reviewers.
Yeah.
Instead of being a jack of all trades, a master of none, we know the type of show we want to have, and we're going to do it. And that's kind of long rant.
Yeah, I think we're going to hopefully lean into our skills and continue to provide unique content that's different from everything else out there. Kind of. And I imagine when you read that, you felt like I'm part of a blob.
Yeah.
I'm part of a giant blob of people that are board game reviewers. And yeah, it's too hard to keep up with. But we're still going to play those games. We're still going to play new games. I was
just going to say that.
Constantly, it doesn't preclude us from being excited about new stuff that's coming out, or that we're only playing the classics, baby. We're still gamers at heart.
And we're going to build our show around Gen Con like we have in the past. And the only way that this show continues is with listeners.
Yeah,
our Discord has been a game changer for Doug and I. The level of engagement and attention that happens over there, and just we got to interview Dr. Reiner Knizia because somebody emailed his team. That's incredible. Those are the things. We get gifts in the mail from our listeners from other countries. That's incredible. All those moments. We're here because of you guys. So please follow along on this journey so that we can keep doing what we love doing.
Well, and the last kind of little bookkeeping is that if you were subscribed to the Game Schooler podcast, this new show is going to be on the exact same feed. So theoretically, you shouldn't have any interruptions. If you do happen to figure out what's going on, you can go to boardgameradio.com. There's all the subscribe lists or links to whatever service you're using. I think there's about 8 of them on the website. And all of the episodes will be there. There's also a database of all the episodes from Game Schooler on there as well going forward. So if there's anything, and there's also a contact form. So if you need to reach out to us, go to boardgameradio.com and fill out that contact form if you want to touch base. So that's my little bookkeeping.
Do we need to say more about what our show is and what's next, or are we just going to leave it at that and keep it moving?
If you've got spoilers you want to reveal, or what direction you want to take it in, I'm willing to follow. I don't think there's any secrets.
Doug has put a ton of work into the reboot. Everything from the website, the logo, our mascot, our currently nameless mascot.
Yeah, maybe you should open that up to Discord. I'd like to see like a little poll of what should the guy in our logo, and if you're watching on Spotify or on YouTube, you'll see he's our new announcer. He will show up before each segment, so you get some more pictures of him doing things. So let us know what you think he should be named, because we're open to that.
And he picked Doug's suit today.
Yeah. We just hired him off of Fiverr, so we don't know what his real name is. So let's give him a name. So anything else, Michael?
Nope.
All right, let's move on.
Each host brings a question, and no one knows where the discussion's going. It's time for What's on Your Mind?
All right, what's on your mind? Each week, Michael and I will be asking each other a question and stumble into thought-provoking discussions, or probably most likely wrestle with bouts of stupidity as we try and catch each other off guard by asking a question, making somebody think, or just getting a commentary on what's been going on lately. So what do you got, Michael?
You want me to lead?
I want you to lead.
I'm going to lead with a bold statement.
Okay.
In 2026, crowdfunding sales will decline. Discuss.
Yes. And let us know in the Discord what your thoughts are on this. Give me your hot take right after you hear this before I answer. Pause the podcast, go in and answer this question. I don't know if they will. I think they will. I don't know if they will decline financially, but I think that there is a decline in enthusiasm in board game crowdfunding, in the way that it's become so commonplace and almost a pre-order system that I don't think it has that same level of, oh my goodness, how high is this campaign going to get? Yeah. Look at all these stretch goals. And maybe it's because Simon is out of the loop for a little bit here while they're trying to get their ducks in a row. But I just don't see that same level of enthusiasm. Now, whether that translates over to sales, I'm not sure either. I could see it dipping. I feel like there is a general feeling of a decline in the hobby. and enough so that several YouTube people and things have brought that up of like, is the hobby really in decline?
So you're saying I'm not original?
You didn't ask if the hobby was in decline, just crowdfunding.
No, just crowdfunding sales.
But I feel like if you're bringing that content to the forefront, there must be some general feelings underneath the surface that are making people feel that way, right?
Well, I think they are going to decline. I think at some point in time, it can only go up and to the right. It can only increase year over year for so many years. And I do think 2026 will be the year where crowdfunding sales, and so what does that mean? Let's just say Kickstarter, Backer Kit, and GameFound decline. The other thing that I'll say, I think that 2024 and 2025, they were through the roof. And I think there's a lot of money spent by companies and by people these last 2 years that eventually there needs to be a pause. You talked about CMON. There are also others that I don't think we're going to see the same number of $400, $500, $600, $700 projects that we've seen the last 2 years, and those are the projects that really drive when you look at the top 10 crowdfunding projects from 2025. They're not games that have a $40 retail and a $60 deluxe. They're typically games that their retail starting at $225 and the super deluxe all in is going to be about $715 plus shipping. Where the shipping is more than a typical deluxeified game that we would pick up at Gen Con and be happy to take home. So that's where I think, just big picture, I do think there's going to be a decline, and I don't think it's all bad, but I think there will be a decline in crowdfunding sales in 2026. That's my hot take.
I wonder too if there's certainly a lot of brands. I'm thinking of something like Return to Dark Tower or something along those lines, where it's like they're going to announce an expansion and it's going to do gangbusters because there's already a built-in fan base that wants more new stuff like that. But I'm curious about the smaller, like the games that you were just talking about, like those $40 retail, $60 deluxe versions, how popular those will continue to be. Yeah. Because there certainly is that pre-order feel. And I'm also wondering the amount of games that get backed on crowdfunding that people have now, we've got a 10-year track record of crowdfunding is that idea of getting something that from a brand new publisher that you haven't played before, living up to the hype of when you backed it, and that those, how many of those are hitting? Yeah. And is that going to catch up with people like, I don't want to take a chance anymore on an unknown commodity, which is how it started and how crowdfunding should be, is, this is an upstart company, give them a try. But when you have companies like Queen Games releasing the big box edition of a game every 3 months on Kickstarter, it's like, what are we doing here? I can't tell any of the editions apart.
So that's a consumer factor. Like, part of what I'm saying, you have consumer factors where it's like, do I really need my 8th version of Marrakesh? I can't keep up. No is a simple answer to that. Publisher factors, on the other side of the equation, you have tariffs, right? And you've got some unknowns with shipping containers and some things like that. Consumer factor on the other side. There is a whole lot of people, and we know them, we've had them on our show, who, if anything is touched by artificial intelligence, they are not going to support that product. And so that's where, you get into the special editions that Awakened Realms is putting out. My goodness. If you look at Agricola, Castles of Burgundy, Puerto Rico, so if they come out with another, they're going to release a zombified version of Agricola, I think there will be some consumers who do not purchase that because of Awakened Realms using AI as a tool. So, I just think we're at a spot in a moment in time where over these 52 weeks, crowdfunding sales are going to decline compared to the past 52 weeks because of publisher factors and consumer factors that go into that purchase decision.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll check it out in early 2027 and see.
Usually these bold claims are dead wrong, Doug. So,
well, that's
at least when I make them.
That's why it's a bold claim.
Yeah,
it's
0 for 17 in the history of the podcast.
It's not a reasonable guesstimate. It's a bold claim. All right. So my question for you is: what is one thing you wish that the non-gamers, the muggles in your life knew? It could be about you or about the hobby at large that you wish, you know, there's kind of assumptions out there. What is one thing that you think that you could, you wish to impart on them?
Inside every single game box, whether it's a small tuck box or any of the boxes that are behind me, lies a system and an opportunity to learn. There are so many different systems and opportunities to learn in the hobby. It's not just a bunch of weirdos sitting around with bad hygiene who don't have social skills.
They do exist.
Yeah, those people exist in all hobbies, though. I mean, if I walk into a coaches convention for basketball coaches, I'm going to see the lifers that haven't aged a bit in 40 years still glued into the bleachers, right? They're still there. They got their same swooshy pants on from 1986.
Yeah.
All right, but getting back to what I want people to know is that the magic circle that's talked about, where you can just get to the table and totally lose track of time and be completely immersed in what you're doing by learning about a new system and having fun and getting engaged, exists in the hobby. And that's what draws me back to it time and time again. And I love the competitiveness of it too, of mastering a game, of learning a game, whether it's first play or repeated plays. That would be the one thing that I would want people to know. How about you?
Yeah. I think the big thing is that games come in all sorts of complexities and varieties, and that if you're inviting somebody to play a game, that doesn't mean that I'm going to throw you into the deep end and we are going to play a 3-hour brain-melting Raiders of the Lost Ark game right out of the gate. And so I think I'd be a terrible host if I did. But I think sometimes when you ask people to play games or there's always this assumption of, I'm not smart enough. I don't want to learn a new game, or it's too hard for me to learn. And it's like, there is so many games on the spectrum of easy to learn and fun to play to complex and involved, and that there is an opportunity for everyone, and that there are, I guess the thing about it is it ultimately comes back to I'm inviting you for an experience, not for a competition. I don't care how many times I've won. I don't care whether I win or not. It's the idea or the opportunity to have a shared experience based around some sort of construct that when the game is over, you remember different parts of, remember when that happened. Remember when I kept rolling terrible dice and it totally destroyed us in a campaign, cooperative campaign, or your dice were on fire and that was amazing and nobody could stop you. And having those experiences is what I'm really asking people for, not necessarily, I want to see how strong your brain is. Let's see if you can really get in there and rip it up. Like it has nothing to do with that. But I think people always default to, well, I'm not going to be smart enough. You play more games with me, so you're going to destroy me. And all of those type of hang-ups that people put up. And at the base of it, it's, I want to share an experience no different than let's watch a movie, let's hang out for a little while. It just happens to have a little bit of a different construct to it. So that's what I would like to pass on.
Yeah, and I think if you take our two answers and combine them, and then also put into those two answers that this is a global hobby that is truly worldwide, where you're going to be able to sit at a table with people who see the world differently than you, who have different life experiences and play the same game and have fun. I just wish that everybody knew that they can be gamers. Everybody can be a board gamer. It's not exclusive to people who started playing Dungeons and Dragons when they were 8 years old because they were in a fourth grade math class and they were advanced and the sixth graders asked them to be a part of their club. It's not exclusive to the super smart people at college who were the super smart people at college. We are all board gamers. And I tell that answer to my neighbors, to friends and family all the time when they come over. People are freaked out and intimidated, and they look at me like I have three heads when they see the board games that are in the room that I'm sitting in right now. And then it's, let's grab Bonanza Dahlia or let's grab Azul and let's show them what a good time looks like.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let us know in the Discord what your thoughts are on that one.
Good question.
Both of those questions, I'd love to hear what other people think.
All right, on to the game.
20 questions, one mystery game, and absolutely no mercy. It's Operation Name That Game.
Welcome to Operation Name That Game. This is a 20-question style game. Michael and I have both picked out a game. The other host needs to ask questions, yes or no questions, in order to try and figure out the game in 20 questions. So play along. Unfortunately, you won't get to ask any questions, but I'm sure your brain will move faster than Michael and I's as we're trying to guess each other's games. So I'm going to pull up my game here.
No. Your penalty for how we're doing it here. I've got mine ready to go. You got to go first this time, Doug.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Are you going to tell me the game? All right. Let's start with, is it a cooperative game?
No.
Okay. Was it published in the last 3 years?
No.
Was it a recommended game of the week?
Yes. That's such a good question.
Does it play in under an hour?
Yes.
Okay. So it was not released. Okay. Has it won a Spiel des Jahres?
No.
Okay, so that takes that one off the board. What? Okay, so it plays in under an hour. It's not a Spiel des Jahres. It's competitive, and it's not published in the last 3 years, and it is a Game Schooler recommended game. Ooh, these are good ones. Is it a worker placement game?
Yes.
Ooh. Is it published by Z-Man?
No.
Oh, goodness gracious. Am I allowed to use our Game Schooler database?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't even know if any of these things are on here. Okay. Oh, shoot. No, they're not. Not in that regard. All right. Is it
he's feeling the time crunch.
Is it a hobby game?
We would have classified it as light hobby, so I will say yes.
Is it published by Stonemaier Games?
No. Halfway home, Doug. 10 questions in.
Oh, no. Okay, this would have been a light hobby game, you say. Not 3 years. Does it have animals in it?
Yes.
Okay. Does it have art by Andrew Bosley?
Yes.
Is the game Everdell?
Yes. 13.
All right.
Well done, Doug. You were stumbling through there, sweating a little bit. Saw it furrow on your brow. That was nice.
Well, then good thing.
Tough.
Good thing.
It said 40 to 80 minutes, and I felt like I needed to give a confident answer when you said under an hour. So that's right. I said yes. And I was trying to think back to our review. I think we said it's right at an hour. So that was the tough question to really be honest with you on.
All right. Well, I'm going to tell you something really funny. It's a good thing that I brought 2 games in my run sheet.
There's no way you had Everdell.
It was, yes. That's
not possible.
It's almost
I only brought
disturbing
one game. I only brought one game. So we have some singularity happening here on the Game Schooler podcast. The board game radio.
It makes me feel almost embarrassed that I didn't know
that took you 13 questions to get to it?
Well, these sound oddly familiar.
Oh,
all right.
That's awesome.
Your turn, Michael.
Are there anthropomorphic animals in this game?
No.
Cooperative?
No.
Can this game be played in 2 hours or less?
Yes.
Competitive game with people. Under 2 hours. Was this a recommended game of the week?
Yes.
Okay. Does this game include a campaign mode?
No.
Is this game published by Stonemaier Games?
No.
Is this game designed by Alan R. Moon?
No. 7 down already.
I know, but hey, they're good ones. Phil Walker Harding designed this game.
He did not.
Sir Rudiger Dorn?
He did not.
Sir Richard Garfield?
He did not.
Okay. So I'm at 10?
You're at 10.
This game, now this is a tricky question, so I'm going to preface it a little bit, but is it a U.S. publisher? U.S.-based publisher?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
I'm trying to look to see if there was. Let me pull up the full credits. The main publisher is not a U.S. publisher.
Okay.
But I wanted to just see. Yes, nobody else brought it over. That would be kind of an overarching thing.
And is the Board Game Geek publisher date 2020 or newer?
Yes.
2023 or newer?
No.
See what I did there, folks? It's a Wonderful World.
No.
No anthropomorphic animals. Are there race cars in this game?
I will say no, but there are cars in the game.
Good gravy, man. Like, okay.
Let me know if you'd like a hint.
I do not want a hint from you. How many do I have left?
5.
And you already confirmed, so this is not an additional question. Folks, if you're playing along, you see how I did that. You already confirmed that Alan R. Moon did not design or co-design this game.
I am 100% sure of that.
All right, just checking in. Draft and Write Records.
No.
Okay. Down to 4 more questions. What am I? It's a competitive game. Is there tile placement?
No.
Is there worker placement?
No.
Whoa. It's not cooperative.
You ready for that hint yet?
No, why are you trying to give me hints all the time, man? I told you I don't want a hint. And the publishing date we know is between 2020 and 2022. Okay. I know I got to move it along. I know. This one's just tough. Is Donald X. Vaccarino the designer?
He is not.
I've ruled out like 80% of the Game Schooler recommended Game of the Week games. Marvel United does not have cars in it. And that's also a cooperative. So it's not that one. He brought in Everdell. So if I'm Doug, what's my backup game for Everdell?
Completely random.
Oh, yeah, right.
It was one I saw on my shelf, and I said, I got to play that again.
Oh, okay. Hold on. That's my hint. I don't want any more. I could tell that it's on your shelf. I'm running low on time. There are cars in this game, huh? Not Alan R. Moon game, and there's cars. Okay. How many do I have left?
You have one.
And then I get to guess the game after that one?
Sure.
Is it Get On Board?
It is not.
Okay, so I have one more guess. I know it cannot be Heat Pedal to the Metal because there's not race cars in it. It's published by a foreign company. It's got to be. I think there's only one choice based on all the restrictions and the parameters. But you said there's not worker placement. It's Bad Company.
It is Bad Company.
Whoa.
Good job, Michael. I was waiting for asking about dice or something.
Well, when you said I see dice worker placement is what I was thinking with that one right away, but then my logic must have been flawed there. So, ooh, man. Used
well
all
done,
20
Michael.
questions and got to the end. Well, we'll see. A lot of people might have gone plus 45, plus 45, plus 45.
Yeah.
Did this fool get it? Oh, he got it. Congrats. Cool.
Let us know how you feel about that segment. We've got opportunities to flex them in and out as we see fit, but that was exciting. You took that down to the wire. It was like
We should keep a win-loss tally on that. We're both 1-0.
All right, sounds good. All right, let's move on.
Highly scientific, completely debatable. Let's rank some games. It's list time.
All right, it is list time. We are going to be ranking our top 10 games from 2025. Last podcast, we used to do a list every week. That will not be the case going forward, but we will occasionally have lists when there are big events like this one, like the year in review. What did you think about 2025 and the list of games that came out?
Yeah, and the lists help us to organize because otherwise this could be a 3-year long segment or 3-hour long segment, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was an incredible year for me. My top 16 games on down are ones that it's like these are staying in my house for a while, even though a couple of them I don't have, but you do have. So I thought it was a great year. How about you?
This one was when I first saw the list, I was not really excited about it. As I've made the list, there's good games in there, but there was not like those one or two that I'm like, well, that's the top of the list. Like that's for sure going in there, which usually every time we do a list, there's always like, well, I'm starting with these and working my way backwards. This one was kind of wide open of how they would get ranked. So there's still some games, as always, from 2025 I'd like to try, but
many.
But my initial thought was like, it's okay. This has some good games in it, and maybe my top five or six will probably be like, yeah, these are favored for a while, but that's about it.
Yeah.
All All right, Michael, what do you got at number 10?
Yeah, I got 2 in the 10 spot, and because I want to just mention them both briefly, and they are both games. We have another segment down the road that we'll get into where I try to leverage enthusiasm to get Doug to play a game. So where I try to convince Doug to play a game, and both of these are potential. I'm workshopping. They could be for that segment. But Kinfire Council from Incredible Dream, designed by Kevin Wilson, and Moon Colony Bloodbath, designed by Donald X. Vaccarino and published by Doug's favorite publishing company, Rio Grande Games.
Oh, their art is amazing.
I could not kick them out of this list. I loved both of the games. Kinfire Council, I've only played solo. I played a lot of it solo in the year 2025. And Moon Colony Bloodbath, I just played very recently at a game day and loved it. So those are 2 games that are both in my 10 spot that I think we'll talk more about on the show in future episodes.
All right, my number 10 is one that I don't know how long it'll stay on the list, but from recency bias and the experience of playing it, that is the Dark Quarter. Now, Dark Quarter is a not family-friendly game with a lot of terrible language in it, but it is kind of built on the Destiny system from Lucky Duck and incorporates stuff from Van Ryder games into it as far as the narrative in which you are investigating crimes and kind of a whole scenario dealing with magic in New Orleans. I could talk to dead people. Michael was a hard-nosed detective.
In the game.
No, those are just personal life abilities I have. Michael is very thorough in investigation. But the Dark Quarter was a fun experience. I enjoyed it. I was able to pick it up very cheaply at a local convention, and I got like the all-in Kickstarter thing. I don't know if I'll play any more of it. But for now, that experience was enjoyable. I thought I was going to be a werewolf. I was not. I thought I had the dual threat. I could talk to dead people and be a werewolf. But alas, that was not my fortune. So my number 10 is Dark Quarter.
Great choice. There's a few role-playing elements in there, too, which really make it fun, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of fast decisions to make.
Yeah, my number 9 was my Gen Con most anticipated game that I actually walked away from only to hunt down at a later time, and that is Railroad Tiles. And I included the collector's edition because why not? Why not have all of the wonderful expansions in one box? But Railroad Tiles is designed by Helmer Hawk and Lorenzo Silva, published by Horrible Guild. Takes one of my favorite little apps of Railroad Inc., and I liked the app, that way I didn't have to draw, and combined it into a game with a draft mechanic that I absolutely love. I'm not going to say more about it in case it comes up on Doug's list higher. I didn't want to just put it here and snipe all the comments, but this is one that when I talk about having games for years to come, and anytime I have a game day or have family over and want to get a game to the table, this is top on that list.
Yeah, it's a good game. Quality. My number 9 is something that will, similar to Railroad Tiles, is kind of a re-implementation. This is actually a second edition, and for me that was Park's second edition from Keymaster Games, and I thought that this version did a really good job of kind of combining the best parts of some of the expansions and streamlining the game. And just, for me, it adds a little bit more theme back into the game, where the original one was getting kind of structural, very mechanical to me. And I was like, I don't really feel like I'm on a park going through trails and things like that. This, I think, added a little bit more of that back in with some of the gears and the canteen abilities. That I think they just really streamlined it really well, to the point where once I got this and played it, I played Michael's copy first, and then I immediately sold my original one and all of the expansions and went out and bought my own version. So that's my number 9, Park's second edition.
Hey, we live by our words. Try it if you get a chance, and then run out and get your own copy.
Immediately,
right?
at all costs. Yes.
Spare
no
sure
expense
it's a good game.
and get the game that you want.
Yeah.
Preferably the most deluxe edition possible.
Yeah, we're going from super deluxe editions to not Super Deluxe editions, and that's Fliptoons for me. Fliptoons was one of my surprise games of the year. When I saw an initial demo of it, I didn't quite understand what was going on. And then when I actually got a full playthrough, this is designed by Jordi Adon and Renato Simonis, art by Diego Sa, and published by Thunderworks. Just a phenomenal game with cutesy, Looney Tunes-esque art that really created its own universe. I think it's set in Ulos, but that's just me. Anyways,
That
you've
lion,
got a
that
starting
Ulos lion.
cast. Yeah, you've got a starting cast of characters, and you are going to hire them by placing 6 of these characters out. And on your let me try again. You are going to place a cast of 6 characters out, 3 in the top row, 3 in the bottom row. And on your turn, you could choose to hire new characters or fire existing characters in your cast. And each of them give you some fame, or they don't. Some may actually take away fame. And first 1 to 30 fame points triggers the end game where you'll have a final flip, and whoever has the most fame at the end of that final flip wins. It works great with my 10-year-old. This game works great with my wife, and I've played it with my game group and with other game groups out and about at conventions. It's just a phenomenal game. Fliptoons is one that I can't wait to see what they do with this down the line.
All right, my number 8 is one that I did not expect to have on my list at the beginning of the year, but I played this game in the Gen Con Hot Games room, and then Michael tried it, then bought it, most deluxe copy available, A Place for All My Books from Smirk and Dagger. This one is it
was the only type he had there, man. That's all that they had down in the Gen Con floor. They didn't have the retail version. All they had was deluxe.
They were all sold out. Michael wrestled away from an old lady, gave her 150 and left happy. No, A Place for All My Books is a game in which you are moving your worker or your person, your character around, and organizing books in your house, collecting new books, going out to the village, buying new books, trading them in, reading them, and you're scoring points for getting them in different combinations throughout your house, different configurations. So it's got a little bit of a worker placement element along with the spatial puzzle components as you're trying to organize these books. And it was one that I was like, the theme really wasn't that exciting to me, and we played it, and then we played it again, and it was just really like that combination because there is that spatial element, there is this kind of ticking timer, depending on how many times people go into the village, and so you're trying to get things organized, and I really enjoyed it. So that's my number 8, A Place for All My Books.
That's awesome. I love that game. Thanks for putting it on your list. Glad we got to give that some love. Another game that we've talked about and like to give love on our show, but it's one I want to play more of, and that's Critter Kitchen. Critter Kitchen was my most anticipated game of 2024, and then it got released in 2025. And we've talked about it in the past, but here's why it's on my list for top games of 2025. I love games that make me feel clever. And in Critter Kitchen, you have 3 different types of workers that you can send out. One of them is very fast, but it only brings back 1 ingredient. The other one, it'll get there efficiently and it'll bring back 2 ingredients, but the big lumbering one is going to bring back 3 ingredients. And I'm saying I like games that make me feel clever because I think, nobody's going to go to that location. I'm going to be able to send my big lumbering one out and bring back all 3. Or I just need 1 ingredient. I'm going to send my fast one out, only to find out that everyone else had the exact same thought and I lose a tiebreaker. So I love that initial. I'm a sucker for set collection. I'm a sucker for recipe fulfillment. And so it has other parts that I really like. There's so much variability in how you could play this game. But that sense of round to round, what ingredients am I going to get and am I going to win? I love that. I love that blind bidding mechanism, and it's fast. It's fast to set up. It's fast to play. The teach is pretty straightforward. the game delivered and gave me everything I wanted. The only thing is I want to play more of the expansions. So that's my number 7 is Critter Kitchen.
All right, my number 7, Michael already mentioned, similar to Park 2nd Edition, this one cleaned up some stuff and made it a lot more efficient, and that was Railroad Tiles. So another game that immediately the Railroad Ink went out of my collection. This one came in. The ability to not have to draw, and as you're adding these tiles to your city or village and getting them organized, and make sure you don't have random tracks flying off everywhere because those give you negative points. And then there's this turn drafting where you can take 4 tiles maybe, but you also then need to have a place for all 4 tiles. And so then at that point, maybe you're like, I only want these 2 or 3. And those decisions play into it as you're trying to make certain combinations to get points. So that is my number 7 from Horrible Guild, Railroad Tiles.
It's a good one. All right. My number 6, I was just making sure I did math, is Galactic Cruise. Galactic Cruise is probably my biggest surprise from 2025. Board Game Geek has it at over a 4.0 on complexity. I am typically not that smart. And I think it goes to show just how easy it is to learn the game, and what Ian O'Toole art and very clear graphic design layout can do. When I first heard about the game from Kinson Games, you're going on a cruise in space. And it's like, yeah, I don't have any interest in that. However, I was surprised at how much interest I had, and I played it solo, a lot of it solo, and then when it came out on Board Game Arena, booted up a bunch of games. And in fact, I've played with some folks on our Discord. It's just a fantastic, heavy worker placement game where everything blends together well. I also feel like there's some great tactical decision making that can happen. If I'm not first to get the achievements, the in-game achievements, can I be second? Well, if I'm, or do I need to pivot and go be first in that one area that nobody else is looking at? So, it's a game that exceeded my expectations. I have it. And I look forward to playing more of it over the next, half decade plus.
Yeah, I like how you said that about the complexity. You almost made it sound like if Michael McCabe can learn this game, anybody can learn this game.
That is how I wanted it to sound.
Okay.
I do that. I believe that about that game. Like I was very dismissive when it was on Kickstarter of a 3-hour hobby game with, I've got enough Lacerda in my collection. I've got enough this, I got enough that. When I got it and played it, it actually pushed some Lacerda out of my collection. As soon as I played it and it made sense, I was like, yeah, Inventions is gone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so, I was interested in the Kickstarter based on the theme, and then started looking at the components and kind of glazed over. So certainly have to give that one a little bit more of a closer look. My number 6 is probably also the most complex game on my list, and one that when I initially heard about it, I was excited. Then I saw a demo of it and was not so excited, and then played it and really enjoyed it. And that is Tea Witches from the Op and designer Manny Vega. In Tea Witches, you are sending out your tea pups to collect various teas, which then you will use to serve witches. When you serve a witch, they then become loyal witches, which means you need to serve them every round thereafter in order to keep scoring points, which seems impossible when you hear it. It's like, because it's so hard that first round to get stuff. You're like, how am I ever going to be able to keep doing this? But you do, and it builds up fine. There's a little push your luck element at the beginning of the game, seeing or each round how many customers you'll have an opportunity to serve. And right about the mid-game point, right when you're starting to feel it, you get a third tea pup to start putting out and getting more tea. So it's a game that I know is not for everybody. I know there's AP issues or can be AP issues in there. And I love I feel like it worked out to be one of those times that the AP issues were kind of resolved because there was enough time between each turn that I kind of could get my bearings, and the game kept moving. So that
AP standing for analysis by paralysis.
Correct. Or paralysis by analysis.
That would be PA.
Yeah, but yeah.
Sorry, man.
So that's my number 6, T-Witches.
We should play that again. I don't know when we will, but let's get that one going. I owe you a whooping, Doug. I owe you a whooping. Yeah, I've had like 2 near losses on that. Yeah,
we can never play again. Awesome. I must always be the winner.
Good. Well, number 5 for me, speaking of losses, I've ended negative. I've ended with $0. I think my best game, I've had $77. I typically don't like games where I feel like a degenerate. But this game, the setting is so spot on. You are such a degenerate gambler that you will bet on mascot races. And that's Hot Streak, designed by Joe Perry and published by CMYK. There are 2 games where it's like, they've got to be on my list for the amount of joy that I've had playing with my kids in 2025. And Hot Streak is one of those. We've broken the mascots because my 10-year-old will just smack them off of the podium back to the racetrack. This one's been covered ad nauseum by board game reviewers all over the place. All that I'll say is, if you get a chance to sit down and play it, give it a play. It's a ton of fun, super easy to teach. Just a cute little game as well. We'll probably live at my house. I don't think it's going to travel a whole lot because it's fragile. The racetrack actually folds out of the box, but who knows? Maybe I'll just have to buy multiple copies over several years. But Hot Streak was a ton of fun.
Get 50 of them and put them in the back, Alex.
Exactly. As long as people want to have fun. I think that's, if you need a serious racing game, maybe Ready, Set, Bet or something else is more less random. But it's.
All right, my number 5 is 3 Chapters from Amigo. Board Game Geek will tell you this was 2024, but the North American version came out in 2025. Oh, did you? This is from designer Joe Hout, and 3 Chapters plays over 3 rounds. First round is drafting. You're collecting your hand of cards. You're then using those hands to somewhat play tricks, although you're only getting your own cards back. So you score points while you get those tricks, and then you get points for the cards that you drafted at the end of the game as well. And it's got a fairy tale theme with Cinderella and Snow White, things like that, evil witches and giants, all of that type of thing. And I just really enjoy it. When I first heard about it, it was something that it appealed to me. I like the 3 distinct phases. You can kind of go one by one and play one at a time and almost teach people how it plays. So that is my number 5, 3 Chapters.
From friend of the show, Joe Hout. Be great to have him back on. He was a great interview. Awesome game, Doug. Number 4 is the second game that I knew I had to include on the list, especially because we had a recent play and one of the components just apparated out of our house, and that is Slam Throne. So for me, 2025 was the year of Manny Tremblay. He designed incredible games that have brought a lot of joy and fun to myself and to my family and to friends. And Slam Throne is, if any of you are 80s babies and teenagers and tweenagers from the 90s, you'll remember Pogs. Pogs overtook my bus and lunch table in junior high.
I'd like to see an AI generation of that. Can you show me Pogs overthrowing a bus?
You'd have to do that. There's a stack of health chips set from the Dice Throne universe with actual heroes from Dice Throne, and you are slamming those chips down with a nice little plastic acrylic type token. And then you have 2 choices. You could try to catch your hero for the people who are super advanced in Slam Throne, or you can let that hero go willy-nilly throughout the house or wherever. And, you're trying to knock out the health of your opponent. we play this game a lot. This is our weeknight, weekend game. Hey, let's bond a little bit. My 10-year-old and I will play. I've played with other kids in the house, but it's just one that, we love it. Absolutely love it. And in the most recent play, the moon elf disappeared from our house. Not under the stove, not under the fridge. Both things have been drawn out. We found some other interesting things under there, but we can't find the moon elf. So the next time I'm at Gen Con or wherever Slam Throne is at, I'll be ripping packs looking to get that moon elf back.
All right. Well, we'll have to keep us updated.
I love it. I absolutely
milk carton back for the moon elf.
Love the amount of fun that this has brought me with my kids, my nephews. This has been a good one.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I've got it, but I haven't played it yet. So
21,108 on Board Game Geek. You haven't played it yet?
No.
Your game room's too nice. You'll have to play it on my kitchen table. You need a suitable space.
Do you? Okay. All right. My number 4 is all about combat as well, and that is Rowdy Partners from Capstone Games.
Good one.
This is a team-based. You can play it 2-player and 3-player, but I think it shines as a 4-player game with 2 teams. This is professional wrestling, tag team trick-taking, and it just has a really unique way of the way that the cards are played out and how you do damage and tag in and out is just really fun because I grew up with euchre, playing euchre on teams and that type of thing. This adds a theme around it and adds some cool abilities where you can change cards and there's wild cards. And if 2 cards of the same value are played out, they cancel each other out. And then all of a sudden you can get in there for some big damage. But you can't communicate with your partner on what they have, which adds some wrinkles to it as well. It was really fun. Came out at the end of the year, but that had a strong impression on me. So that's my number 4, Rowdy Partners.
It's awesome. Yeah, great game. I told you I was going to be a run on Manny Tremblay, and number 3 for me is Wroth, W-R-O-T-H, designed by Manny Tremblay, art by Manny Tremblay. This is published by Chip Theory Games. Wroth, if you, this could be divisive, but I get the same feel as Blood Rage with an area control and a round by round king of the hill. I need to be in this territory to get points, but you only get a few points. What I love about Wroth, it is a dice drafter, so I'm drafting my dice for that round, and then you're placing the dice out and taking actions, and your characters are very unique. You know, the gamer word would be asynchronous abilities, but each character has a few different types of soldiers that have a few different types of abilities, but it's leveled at a way where I have this chart. I look out, I could see what everybody's doing. And I think I have an idea of what people are going to do from round to round, but then they start to collide. And it's like, oh my goodness, his ability is incredible, but her ability over there, she's about to win. And so it has some of that table banter where you have to crosstalk. Like if I don't point out that she's about to win, we all have to gang up and take her out right now, or guys, she's going to get the win. And is he being serious or is he bluffing? And everybody knows me as a gamer, nobody's going to trust what I'm saying. And then guess what? She's the first one to 30. She won. And it has that little bit of, I told you so, couldn't you see that? And it plays in an hour. Like and that's everything. Like the setup, the teach, the takedown is 1 hour. I ran this at our local convention and I budgeted 2 hours and we got 2 plays of it in. Great game. I'm excited because I've heard there's going to be some expansions that come with it. This is one that I will likely be a completionist of. Very mixed reviews on Board Game Geek for the solo, but I liked it. I got the Wroth vibes with it and could good little review and refresher of it. So it's one that I'll likely teach at our local convention for the next few years. And that's my number 3 game from 2025. It exceeded my expectations. Wroth.
All right, my number 3, Michael talked about earlier, and that is Fliptoons from Thunderworks Games. This gives me the feel of Quacks of Quedlinburg. I've stocked up my deck, but the order that they come out is what is going to determine how well I do. I love that mechanism. I love that you can trigger the end game, and then because everything laid out perfectly, that first time you did it, and then the next time it doesn't come out that way, and you don't score as many points, and you can end up losing the game. So it's got that little bit of a thing at the end, is that even if you didn't trigger the end game, you still may be in a position to win, which I think is helpful. It plays fast. It is a game that I think once you explain it, people are like, oh, okay. But then once they get their first new cast member out there and they start seeing how they all work together, there's kind of this flip that switches, that they go, this is cool, and watching it play out.
Flip that switches, switch that flips.
Same.
Yeah, cool.
P-A-S-A. Fliptoons is my number 3.
Awesome. Great game. Number 2 for me. Guess who one of the designers is, Doug?
Manny Tremblay.
Correct.
How many times have you said that today?
With Aaron Hine. Hey, I've got 15 log plays of this, and I've played a lot more than that because I've been playing it on Board Game Arena. It's in an alpha state or a beta state, and that's Fight 5. Fight 5 is described as a war mechanism, the card game war, where you're trying to get rid of your cards, and you're competing to try to win other cards. And the theme is this, all right? It's 5. So you've got 5 cards in your hand, and on your round, you're competing over 5 cards. 1 that everyone's competing over, 2 cards, your neighbor to your left, 2, your neighbor to your right, and that's basically the game. And any cards that are 10 or higher are going to give you 5 points. There's also a wild card that's a star that will give you 10. It's just a fantastic game to compete and have fun. And there's some luck and some chance. You don't know what your neighbor has, but you could kind of card count a little bit and think, I think they got this in there. I don't know about that in there. I'm looking forward to the big release on Board Game Arena when it's out there. Not one I'd want to play asynchronously, because who wants to play a 15-minute game over 3 weeks? But one that folks on our Discord, when this is out and about and released, let's get some real-time games going and maybe pop on the camera on Board Game Arena and really play a game. I'm happy to get that one taught up and running. Plays with kids, plays with grandparents, and that is just been a fantastic game for me. Fight 5.
All right. Has that had like a full retail release yet?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's out there. It is. I think I
They
said
had
that
the special
way too
one at Gen
confidently.
Con, right?
Gen Con was buy one get one. I know it was on Chip Theory for Christmas. Let me just do a quick Fight 5 and see the deluxe edition you can get on their website. So I'm assuming
All right.
the
It's available.
retail's out there.
All right, my number 2 is Deep Regrets from TEDx Games and designer Judson Cowan. Deep Regrets is a fishing game in which you are going through 3 different depths to try and catch fish. Those fish can be fair or foul. If they are foul, they are monsters. And depending on your own personal level of madness, determines whether those foul fish are valuable or worth more money to you or not. And so this is not going to be a game that's for everybody, because there's luck in it. Things that are going to, you're going to reveal a fish and it's going to change the entire game for everybody. And you're collecting madness cards that make you stronger throughout the game. But at the end of the game, whoever has the most madness points is going to lose one of their trophy fish. So it's a game that I really enjoy, primarily based on the experience. I think if you go into this expecting it to be a deep strategic game, you're going to be disappointed. If you go and lean into the theme, it's it's going to be fun and enjoyable to you. So fully aware that it's not for everybody, but it really worked for me. And it was one of my most anticipated games. And
that's
that is
cool.
Deep Regrets, my number 2.
Clearly worked for me as well. I absolutely loved that game, even though it could not have turned out more poorly for me. It did not go well as a fisherman on that day. Yeah, that's a good one. We're up to the number 1 spot, right?
Yes.
Well, guess who the designer is on this one?
Ian O'Toole.
False.
Okay.
And it's not Manny Tremblay. I was setting you up for that. But my most played game, it's an expensive one. It would not fit in any of our stringent criteria of the past, but that's the Elder Scrolls Betrayal, the Second Era from Chip Theory Games. I was an Elder Scrolls fan back on whatever PlayStation number I owned at the time when I first played it. And in that Elder Scrolls, you break out of jail. That's how you're introduced to the game. And it was one of those where it's like, what do I do here? What do I do there? Where do I go? Oh, I get to make decisions and then I get to either honor those agreements or break them. Oh, this is interesting. And the board game does the same thing. I have 21 log plays. I have over 40 hours. It is a heavy one. It is a 4.05 on Board Game Geek, but I would contend that, if you got 5 hours on a Sunday and you want to have a good little experience, come on over and let's play. So it might be the last time people hear about it here on the show. For me, it was my game of the year, one that I just absolutely love playing with 2 different characters, 2-handed solo. I'm all in on it, and it's probably my big hobby game of choice. If I had to just have one in my collection, it's the Elder Scrolls.
All right, awesome. My number 1, Michael already mentioned, that was Critter Kitchen from Lucky Duck Games. The thing I like about Critter Kitchen is you're collecting ingredients. I feel like there are as many times that you get boxed out of a location, which is frustrating. Michael was talking about that. You have other moments where you're cleaning up. And so that balance works out enough throughout the game that you never feel like, I can never get anything. I think it balances out well on that front. I think there's also a sous chef you can get every round for the next round, and that usually works out to getting it like 2 out of the 7 or 8 that show up throughout the game, so you're never really fully boxed out of that. You're going to get them, and they have special abilities that add to it. And then that whole idea of there's one big meal that you're trying to serve at the end of the game, but you can only save so many things, ingredients from round to round, and there are meals that you serve throughout the game that can get you points. So there's that tug of war of, should I serve these throughout the game and maybe not pay as attention to the big one at the end, or do I kind of serve a couple throughout the game, but really load up for the big one at the end, and trying to figure out where everybody else is doing, what they're trying to do. Just a really good game. If you happen to get the deluxe version of this, it's gorgeous. It's got great wooden components, screen printed, and things like that. But it is my number 1 game of the year, Critter Kitchen. Whew, that's the list,
Great
Michael.
Year. Lot of lists, a lot of talking.
Any honorable mentions you want to highlight?
Yeah, that we have not talked about, there are, and I will just say 2 of them. Did FinSpan make your list?
It did not.
FinSpan was a game that really surprised me, and if I had to pick one from the Span series, sorry, I love my dragons, I love my birds, but FinSpan would be my winner. I really enjoyed that. That was a surprise. Should I keep going? I just have 2 others.
Yeah,
Tag Team from Scorpion Mask and published by Hachette. Card battler that I absolutely loved, absolutely worked for me. I know Doug would not say that. And then the Bitewing trilogy from Reiner of Silos, Ego, and Orbit. Silos and Ego are phenomenal winners that I look forward to convincing you to try to play at some point down the road.
All right. I had Hutan, Life in the Rainforest. I thought was really good. It's kind of kind of what I wanted Oceans to be, but better. I enjoyed that one. Graft, which was from Ivy Studio, that was a really fun drafting game that has a push your luck element of how long you're going to stay in there, and because if you don't play or somebody doesn't reset it, you can actually bust, which I think is kind of cool. An Ace of Spades is going to be a new edition of that coming out soon, but that was a really fun solo or two-player cooperative poker game where you're trying to compete and eliminate baddies based on the poker hands that you have. That I thought was a really cool game. So that'll be coming out in a wider release here shortly. So those are our top 10 games of the year. Let us know in the Discord what games you enjoyed. I want to thank our sponsor, Back Calyx, for
thanks for continuing to support us, Back Calyx.
Yeah, it means a lot. It's what keeps us going. It only keeps us in the negative by a fraction compared to
just a scotch.
Yeah. Check out the website, boardgameradio.com, to stay up to date with and get all of the links that you need to track us across the entire interweb. Please consider subscribing to this show and on your podcast platform of choice, and leave a 5-star review. And from all of us behind the mics, the games, and the bad jokes, thanks a million for tuning in.
Clear the table, call the gang, and keep the good times rolling. Join us next week for Board Game Radio.